Hello and welcome to the April 21st, 2008 edition of MassapequaNews.com. I'm Will Slater, and I'm here in Seaford on Merrick Road at the State Farm Insurance Agency with Victoria van Deven. Victoria, thanks a lot for coming on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Victoria, I've heard that you don't just sell home and auto insurance, and that's a big misconception. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, State Farm, we're known for our home and auto insurance. We're the #1 in the country. But we do sell many other products like life insurance, long-term care insurance. We do mutual funds, and we also do banking products now.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit more specifically about what you do, like, mutual funds I heard that you do.
Okay. We do mutual funds, and it's a great vehicle because you can do different things with it. You can use it maybe just to do some savings. You can do it to do some planning for retirement. You can also use them to plan for your children's education, maybe in a 529 plan or a covered down. So there's a lot of opportunity. Mutual funds are pretty much, the beauty of them is there's a greater potential for earning. However, there is risk. There's always a potential for losing money as well.
So it's a small gamble, but it's not like the stock market where you could lose everything. It's kind of...
Right. It's tied to the stock market, but the beauty is mutual fund. It's all different stocks rolled into one. You have different choices. You do an asset allocation, so you could say, okay, I'm more of a conservative type of investor as opposed to the high risk. And then the funds are, you create your own portfolio. So there is always risk. We have to let everyone know that.
Right.
But you have the greater potential for return.
Right.
Like, for example, in a savings account or a CD, they're going to guarantee you a certain interest rate. You're not going to make anything more than that. And it's important for retirement planning or anything to make more than what the average rates of return are.
Let's say you're a complete neophyte to the mutual fund world. Let's say you know absolutely nothing about it. What would you tell somebody? How do you get into it?
I would tell somebody, to come in. We're going to sit through. We're going to ask you some questions, find out, what your knowledge is. If you have none at all, we're going to go over it. I'm going to explain to you how it works. We'll do some questions to find out what your goals are. And, I would say to someone to start small. The beauty of State Farm also is that a lot of investment companies, unless you have a large amount of money, they're not going to even talk to you.
Right, so there's not a minimum amount of money that you have to
The minimum
invest.
is $50 a month,
okay, so,
which is, in this industry, extremely small.
Right.
So I would say to someone who's not sure, start small. With any type of investment, you should always diversify. So it shouldn't be your only vehicle of savings. You should also do the conservative as well.
Right, just try it out because there is room for growth.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about the life insurance that you offer here.
Okay. There's two basic types of life insurance. There's term insurance and whole life.
How do they differ?
They differ. Term is like renting. You're pretty much paying a premium. If you pass away, your beneficiary is going to get paid the money. But after a certain amount of term, either the rates go up or you let the policy go, and you walk away with nothing. If you do whole life or universal life, it's kind of like owning a home. You're making an investment. You're paying more, but you're building cash value. There's flexibility. You can take loans against the policies, and the premiums will never change.
Right.
They're guaranteed for life. So that's the beauty of it.
Guaranteed for life premiums. Tell me a little bit about the banking you do here.
Okay. We do banking. We do credit cards. We do car loans. We do home equity lines of credit. We do CDs, savings, checking accounts. So we're pretty much like any other bank, except you can't come here and we don't have a drawer full of money.
Right.
But otherwise, it's a virtual bank, and we can do everything that a regular bank can do for you.
I know that this has been difficult for a lot of people these days, especially. Tell me a little bit about the car loans and the car insurance that you do.
Okay. Car loans, pretty much, we handle it just like any other bank would handle it. We're going to do a credit check, see where you would find. We come in with a range or a percentage that we're going to offer you. We can also refinance, so if you already have it through, maybe at one point your credit wasn't so great and you got a high rate, we can come in now and maybe get you a lower rate or change the term. And auto insurance, we do the same thing. We try to give everybody the best advice we can as far as how to keep their premiums down, what coverages they need, and things like that.
What kind of advice is that exactly? I could use some.
Okay. Well, auto insurance, you're depending on where you live, there are a lot of things that go into the pricing. Where you live, what kind of car you drive, your age.
Right.
So for younger drivers, I would always tell them, take the 6-hour defensive driving course, even if you don't have tickets or accidents, because you'll get the discount.
Yeah.
Think about the car you're going to drive as far as, safety features, the value. Do you need a car with comp and collision, or do you maybe want an older car? And then how you use the car. If you can carpool or you can use mass transit, so you're not putting a certain amount of mileage on a year, you can get a lower rate.
It's helpful.
Yeah, but some things you can't change, like your age.
And contrary to what maybe popular belief is, there is people pigeonhole women as being worse drivers. As a matter of fact, the rates are higher for men because men get into more accidents.
Right.
So
underage men
right.
underage men have a higher rate of accidents, so their rates are higher. But the women are catching up.
Right. Now,
They're
really?
creeping up. Yes.
All right then. I mean, as a life insurance, as an insurance agent in general, you provide a service. There's a lot of honor in that. You can you help people save money and all this. Why is this your chosen career? How'd you get into it?
Well, I was exposed to it. Family, basically. My father had worked for an agent for 27 years, and I really enjoyed the connection with the people. We would get calls at home, from policyholders, like, oh, I had this problem, can you help me? That was before. Nowadays, you have 24-hour access, 7 days a week. Back then, you didn't. It was
right.
just, so we'd get calls on the weekends. So I saw it as an opportunity to really help people. It's really interesting. You meet people from every walk of life, and it's a great opportunity, to make a good living.
Mm-hmm.
So
definitely. What was your first experience with the workforce in this field?
Well, my first experience was probably about 12 or 13. My father would bring home around the holidays before we had mass mailings and things like that.
Right.
And we'd stuff envelopes with the calendars that were going to go out to his policyholders, and he'd give us like $20, and we were like so excited. But we'd stuff hundreds of envelopes and lick them all. So that was my first experience with it.
You built yourself up from there.
I built myself up, right?
Okay, what kind of, more than anything else, what do you want people to know out there about State Farm Insurance here and what you offer them, what kind of service you provide for them?
What I'd like people to know is that State Farm is a great company, number one, and it has a great reputation. But the beauty of our agency is that we really do focus on what the customer wants. It's not so much what am I going to make a sale, as I'm going to sit down with you, my staff is going to sit down with you and say, what is it that you need? Auto insurance, you have a car, you have to have it. But let's tailor it to what you need, what you can afford. And with everything else, we try to find out what are their future goals, what do they want for their kids, and then we can use those things we talked about, like mutual funds, to set up for retirement. A lot of pension plans, a lot of companies aren't offering those things anymore. So, we could sit down and say, okay, let's lay out what your dreams are and what your future is, and we'll find a way to help you get there. And to me, I think that's what sets us apart, is that it really is about the customer.
I can see how that could be very refreshing for people too, because a lot of times it feels like this people just consider themselves to be just a number or whatever,
right.
And you could bring out the human element. I can see how people could definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's rewarding for us too.
Very much so. Okay, you can find more information and whatever information that you'd like on MassapequaNews.com's business solution about Victoria Van Deven and the services that she provides here at State Farm Insurance. Now, to find this agency specifically, you can come to 4020 Merrick Road in Seaford, and the number here is 516-221-3200. This has been the April 21st, 2008 edition of MassapequaNews.com. I'd like to thank my guest Victoria for coming on today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
And I'm Will Slater, and this is MassapequaNews.com.